Negative indices is what we're looking at in this video. It's split into 8 parts. So first we're going to start off by looking at examples where we've been asked to write something like this in index notation, then examples where we need to evaluate, then fractions written like this, and then how do you find x here, and then examples of indices with letters and fractions with letters, and then indices multiplication and find the indices division. So the way my videos work, I'm going to do the example on the left, which is I do. You are then going to press pause and have a go at the example on the right, which is you do. So looking at this first example here, we've been asked to write the following in index notation. So the way we write this in index notation is 2 to the power of 3. Okay, so that is 2 cubed. And if I look at this one down here, I would write this as 1 over 2 cubed. Now this can be written like this. Okay, that is your negative indice there. Okay, so that and that are exactly the same. Okay, so all that minus means, so that minus sign there, it just means 1 over. Okay, so hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at the example on the right. So this is going to be 9 to the power of 5. This is going to be 1 over 9 to the power of 5, which we can write as 9 to the power of minus 5. Okay, remember that negative just means 1 over. It's just the inverse. So just a common confusion to address before we move forward. So we can write this in index notation as 5 to the power of 1. Okay, so with this, you can imagine there's an invisible 1 on there. And we can then write this like that. Okay, so here's some practice questions. Press pause now and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. So moving on here, we've been asked to evaluate. Okay, so the word evaluate just means give an exact value. So 2 cubed would just be 8, 2 to the power of 1 would be 2, and anything to the power of 0 is always 1. Okay, so hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at this. So that's 16, 64, and 1. So now looking at these again, we've been asked the exact same question, but we've got the negative this time. So remember, the negative just means, if I rewrite this, the negative just means 1 over, and then just copy the rest down. Now just imagine the negative's not there. You just write 2 cubed, okay? That is literally all that negative means. It just means the inverse of the same thing without power, without the negative on it, and then we can just write this as 1 over 8. That is our answer here. Again, here, step 1, get rid of the negative. That just means 1 over, and then just copy everything else down. So that's just 1 over 2. And again here, the negative just means 1 over. We just copy everything else down as usual without the negative sign. And we've got an answer of 2 times 2 times 2, which is 1 over 16. Okay. So again, hopefully you pressed pause and had a go at the example on the right. So the negative just means 1 over whatever's there. So that's 1 over 3 squared. Again, this will just be 1 over 3 cubed, which is, and this would just be 1 over 3 to the power of 1, which is just 1 over 3. Okay. So here's some practice questions. Press pause now and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. So moving on, we've now been asked to write this in index form. So to write this in index form, we could just write that as 3 to the power of minus 2. Okay. To write this in index form, that's just 2 to the power of minus 1. And this one would just be 7 to the power of negative 3. And again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at the examples on the right. So that's 4 to the minus 2, 4 to the minus 1, and 12 to the minus 9. Here are some practice questions. Press pause now and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. Moving on. So here we've been asked to find the value of x. Okay. So it's saying 2 to the power of what becomes 1 over 2. So remember, this is going to be like a little 1 over there. So that is just going to be x is equal to minus 1, because 2 to the power of minus 1 is 1 over 2. Okay, so that is your answer there. And with this one, how did that turn into that? Well, that looks like x must have been equal to minus 2, because 2 to the power of minus 2 is 1 over 2 squared, which is 1 over 4. And again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at these examples here. And that is your values of x here. Here are some practice questions. Press pause now and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. Moving on. So here we've been asked to write these as fractions. So this would be, remember, the negative just means 1 over. So that's the negative part done. And then you just imagine the negative's not there, right? You just copy everything else down. That's it. Okay. And again here, the negative just means 1 over. and I just copy everything else down. So that's 7 to the power of t. And hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at these examples. So that's 1 over b cubed and 1 over 5 to the power of r. So here are some practice questions. Press pause now and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. So moving on from there, here we've been asked to write these in index form. So remember the 1 over part, that just means a negative. So this would have been x to the power of negative 2. Okay. And this would have been 3 to the power of negative y. Because remember what I said before, the negative just means 1 over. So this would become 1 over and then 3 to the power of y. So again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at these examples. So this would just be y to the power of negative x, and this would be n to the power of negative 4. Here are some practice questions. Press pause now and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. So moving on. So we've been asked to simplify the following and leave our answer in index form. Now remember, when you're multiplying with indices, you're just adding them together. So that's just going to be 2 to the power of negative 1. And this one, when you're dividing indices, you just subtract them. So that's 5 to the power of minus 2. And this one here, again, when you're multiplying indices, hopefully you have pressed pause and had a go at this. So that's 3 to the negative 2. And when you're dividing indices, you're just subtracting. So 4 to the power of minus 1. So here are some practice questions. Press pause now and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. And that is the end of this video. If you would like some more practice on this, there are some practice questions linked down in the comments below over on my website. And if you found this video useful, I've got loads of other content like this on my YouTube channel. Do check it out.